Alright, we're going to talk about my build and how I soloed FBI for any of the guys in the Alliance that look or need ideas. As you can see in my hot tray, I have not used any of the buffs. You can notice that most of my buffs are coming from my gear and enchantments. So I haven't even took any potions or anything like that to even give me a bump. So we're going to go ahead and proceed in. These stats will vary. I'm just showing you a quick look. Sometimes they fluctuate, sometimes they don't. Damn it. Sometimes it'll get up to 80 power, but for some reason it's not doing it, but crit's a little high. But this is also in an easy area. This is in Protector's Enclave. Different areas will affect differently. We'll get into that. Anyways, this is the build. We're gonna go. We'll go this route first. You want all Constitution and all Charisma. Next, we'll go in the gear. I went with the Dino Raid Varco. The Dino Hide gear. Next is the Hags Rags. Terror Grips. These are +1s. You ain't going to be able to get these. So I recommend just getting the regular primal. Unless you can get these, which they're nice. The Dino Hide again. And then these artifacts. And I only picked the bottom 3 because of what their equip is. Demigorgon set. These rings are for their stats. Simply, that's it. Demigorgon set. Okay, now we'll go back into these things for their enchantments. You'll notice the utility on here is brutal. It just gives me run speed and some XP. Next is going to be Bark Shield. You can run negation. I recommend running negation when you're in a group, running Bark Shield when you're running solo. You'll notice that in my defense slots, they're going to be all cruel. Next is brutal again for the utility. But on the weapon, it's going to be radiance. And then Fey Touch. Stacking a lot of power. Again, cruel. Then on this utility, I have a dark to give me an extra little bit of run speed. The neck, brutal, another radiant. Now woven. This is what woven gives you: 600 crit, 600 combat advantage. Get into the combat advantage bonus. There's another woven. And then cruel. Now we'll go ahead and go into companion. And then you'll notice that I have black ice. I have the Heart of Fire to give me that armor pen. And then a savage and a black ice. But then you'll notice that the rings got crit and power. And then you'll notice that the necklace is a 1-slot enchantment, and it gives a boatload of recovery. So you can see my stats and what they are doing. I run the earth because of the 6% when I'm at full health. As long as I stay at full health, I'm good. So my crit with my lifesteal, with my power, keeps me alive. And with my defense, it keeps me alive. So I'm usually getting 6%. Now when I run with a group, I'm almost always getting that 6%. This year's are guaranteed, because anytime you take 1% from their health, it's activated. Cholton Cat, it's not so much for what its active is, but what its damage is. But the problem is just keeping this turkey alive. Anyways, next would be the Siege Master. I will switch the Siege Master out depending on what dungeon I'm rolling in. If I'm anywhere for T9 on up, I will switch it out for the Alpha Compy. And then the Razorwood for the combat advantage. Now if we look at my stats, we'll notice that I am 11% no matter what. 11% was the cap. Now for next mod it's supposed to change. Now I don't know whether or not, since I'm at cap, that I'm able to do certain things that I'm not able to do like normal. Ever since I played with maneuvering the combat advantage higher, I've noticed that when I'm in groups with paladins or DCs, they proc my power. It doesn't have to wait for the combat advantage bonus to kick in. It's already there. So all I'm doing is straight damage right off the gate. These are my powers. Tropical Curse is nasty, and anyone that runs with me knows that this thing is nasty. The second I find the biggest target, I will curse them and literally throw down pillar, and the mobs will just literally melt. This is a nice little attribute. There's that. Here's my feats. Now, a lot of you might not be able to go with toughness because you're going to need that extra crit chance. I'm endgame. I can get away with this. These are your two biggest ones. No matter what you do, you want to make sure you have these two, no matter what. At least some points in both of them. And now, since I'm human, I can get away with getting them all. This goes hand in hand with your constitution. Now we'll get into Boons. Crit severity. That's a no. Right? That's a no. Yeah. Then we have crit strike. Sorry, my children are home, so I have to mute every now and then and talk with them. So I'm not here conversating most of what these do and whatnot, but if you have any questions, I can go back through and help you. And if you're asking why my children are at home, it's because they had a dentist appointment and I had to take them to get their teeth cleaned, and they conned me into not taking them back to school. Which they only had like a few hours left anyways, no big deal. Alright, now in the mount bonuses. Now everyone's not going to have legendaries like me. I understand. But these are my bonuses that I'm rocking. Now you'll notice that there's only a few with crit because of the combat advantage bonus. But most of my combat advantage bonus comes from literally here and this one. This one's a big one. And then the Wolvens. And that's what gives me the 53 that I have, which is 11%. I was 55 a few hours ago, but then I was like, I can get a few more action points. And I played around with dropping crit a little bit, because crit was a little high. As you can see, it's solid. Defense ignored is now a little bit. That's only because the cat is still attacking. If I undo the cat, you'll notice in a minute my stats will come down, but I'm no longer doing the percentage. For some reason I'm still procced. There, now I'm not. Now we're gonna go ahead and hit these. Give me a bump. Not much difference. Except certain things did go up. Like the crit severity. A little more damage. Still not much. For some reason I'm going down. There we go. Now I'm going back up. Alright, now, what gives me the power where I jump up to 80k ain't so much what was on my heart bar. What I'll do before I start a dungeon, and I'm knowing I'm going to be in long-term dungeons, I'll click on this, which is Elixir of Fate, which you can see what it does. Now, if I'm fighting a dragon, I'll grab these two. I'll grab one of these just for the shits and giggles. I'll grab this to help with my recovery, and then I will grab this for my power. No. Oh, didn't catch it in time. There it is. It's up to 84. You can see damage went up. That gave me, when I did the artifact, you see how there's a blue circle? You'll see that this is more for allies, but it also is nice to have that damage resistance. But if I get the curse, which would be red, it would give me 50% more damage. Now, the only difference between my builds and most is a lot of people like to switch out. Now, for me, I can switch from Fury to Temp. Well, and get the cat to quit attacking. But I can switch from Fury to Temp on the fly. Everything's the same. I think it changes is literally the feats. That is it. That is the difference. Everything else stays the same. Boons are all the same. Everything is basically the same. The only difference is the feats. So then I'll come out here. And for some reason, power goes through the roof, and that's because of this little feat right here. Almost 300, as you can see. What is this guy here? Inspect him. He's a great weapon fighter. He's not even a power share type character. He's nowhere near me. He's not in my group. Yet you can see my power, my damage. Now let's get into something even more messed up. I am only a Guild Hall 9. Not a Guild Hall 20. So, all those Guild Hall 20s that offer you that you're going to be Billy Badass, well, here's proof. I'm Guild Hall 9. And I am doing some Billy Badass shit. That's 92. Almost. Damn. Now, I'm kind of curious. I do have a loadout that's basically, it's a hybrid. We just had an update, so I'm noticing power is a little higher on Temptation than normal. So we're going to switch out. Okay, so it's the differences. They're switched. This way, nothing is different from my loadouts. Alright. Except for the feats. As you can see, I tapped in to Dark Reverie. Gave up a few things. But this is a hybrid build. Not much difference because it's not as high. See if we can get it to proc up higher. Yep. Nope, doesn't go much higher. Damage a little less. But as you can see, those are my builds. So if you have any questions from the Discord app or hit me up on PSN, I'll be glad to explain more in detail. But I'm out for the night. Take it easy.